We live in a world where our minds are constantly bombarded. Personal problems, professional challenges, uncertainties about the future. It's as if we're trapped in a storm of incessant thoughts. And what does that do to us? It distracts us, pulls us away from peace, and plunges us into anxiety. But what if I told you there's a way to face this storm head-on? To find a center of balance amidst the chaos? Imagine being able to walk through the world with unshakable calm, feeling that nothing external can disturb you. The worries are still out there, the distractions still exist, but within you, a firm and deep peace reigns. It sounds impossible, doesn't it? But this is not just a distant idea. It's a reality, a transformation that anyone can achieve. Through the wisdom of ancient Stoic philosophers, you can learn to shape your mind and emotions in such a powerful way that nothing will make you lose control. Today, you'll discover the 7 Stoic lessons that will not only change the way you think, but will transform your mind into a fortress of serenity. Each lesson carries an ancient secret, a key to unlocking a balanced, calm mind ready for any challenge. If you're ready to let go of fear, anxiety, and mental chaos, and finally take full control of your life, then leave the word balance in the comments, showing your commitment to having a strong and balanced mind, and also subscribe to the channel so we can go on this journey of transformation together. Lesson 1. You only control your actions and your reactions. Imagine waking up on a seemingly normal day, but along the way, life begins to test you. The traffic is chaotic, people around you seem impatient, and things just aren't going as you expected. In those moments, what do? Often we let ourselves be carried away by stress, anger, by that feeling that the world is against us. But here's a truth that can completely change your perspective. You don't control the world. You control how you respond to it. Epictetus, one of the greatest masters of Stoicism, left us this golden lesson. It's not the external events that cause you suffering, but rather the way you interpret and react to them. Think about that for a second. How many times have you found yourself in a stressful situation, frustrated because things didn't go as planned? Maybe you got annoyed by a misplaced word, a judgmental look, or a delay that was out of your control. The great Stoic lesson here is simple but transformative. It's pointless to fight against what is beyond your reach. The decisions of others, life's unforeseen events, the mistakes of others. All of this is beyond you. Trying to control these things is like trying to hold water in your hands, useless and exhausting. Now imagine another scene. You're in the midst of chaos, of everyday stress, but this time something changes. Instead of reacting with anger, you pause, take a deep breath. Remember that you don't control the traffic, another person's attitude, or that unexpected error at work. What you do control is your own mind, your own reactions. And at that moment, you choose not to give in to the impulse of frustration. You begin to realize that all that anguish you felt before, all that weight on your shoulders, was the result of a futile attempt to control the uncontrollable. And by focusing on what's truly within your domain, your actions, your choices, your reactions, a new feeling begins to emerge within you, a peace, an inner strength that no one, absolutely no one, can take away from you. This is true freedom, not the freedom to manipulate what happens around you, but the freedom to choose how you behave in the face of what happens. The circumstances may be the most difficult, the most challenging, but your response, that is what defines who you are. How many times do we let ourselves be affected by something so small, so insignificant, simply because we forget that we have the power to choose our reactions? A boss's anger, a stranger's rudeness, a plan that falls apart, none of this should have the power to rob your peace unless you allow it. The Stoics teach us to have an unshakable mind, and for that we need to accept that what is outside of us is unchangeable, but what is within us is moldable, flexible, and entirely ours. When you stop fighting against what you cannot change, something incredible happens. You gain mental and emotional space to focus on what truly matters. Imagine the impact this shift in mindset can have on your life. When everyday obstacles arise, you will no longer be the person who reacts impulsively, who exhausts themselves over things beyond their control. No, you will be the person who remains calm, who takes a deep breath, who acts with wisdom and clarity because you understand that your true strength comes from within. Starting today, Remember this: no one and nothing has the power to knock you off balance unless you allow it. True strength doesn't lie in favorable or unfavorable circumstances. True strength lies in your ability to respond to any situation with calm, focus, and determination. When you internalize this, the outside world loses its power to disturb you. It may try, but you will stand firm like a rock in the middle of a storm. That's what it means to be a Stoic. That's what it means to master your own mind. When you accept that the world will act as it pleases, and that your only duty is to control your reactions to it, you free yourself once and for all from the emotional prison in which many live. And this freedom is a gift you can give yourself every day. So stop now and think. What are you trying to control that is beyond your reach? What situations are stealing your peace because you're reacting impulsively? Remember, the world may be chaotic, but your mind doesn't have to be. You have the power to choose, every second, how you will respond to what life presents to you. And this choice, more than anything else, is what determines whether you will have a calm mind or a chaotic one. Focus on what you can control and let the rest go. This is the first Stoic lesson, and perhaps the most important of all. Lesson 2: accept what is, but act on what can be. Stoics did not believe in passive resignation. For them, acceptance is not the same as surrendering, nor is it abandoning responsibility for one's life. On the contrary, Stoic acceptance is an act of courage. It's recognizing the world as it is, the circumstances as they are, but with the conviction that there's always something we can do. It's like being on a ship at sea. You cannot control the wind, the waves, or the ocean's fury, but you can adjust the sails and navigate as best as possible. How many times have you felt powerless in the face of situations that seem beyond your control? Perhaps you've experienced an unexpected setback at work, a personal crisis, or a loss that seemed unbearable. In those moments, the temptation to fight against what happened, to wish things were different, can be immense. But the Stoics teach us that this is the path to unnecessary pain and suffering. Resisting reality doesn't change the facts, it only drains our energy and distances us from a solution. As Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Roman emperors and Stoic philosophers, wrote in his diary, "When you rise in the morning, think of the privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to love, to feel." He knew that although many events in life were uncontrollable, how we react to them is always within our power. Accepting what cannot be changed is the first step to finding peace, but it's not the only one. True strength lies in acting upon what can be transformed. Imagine yourself on a road. Sometimes it's straight, other times full of curves. There are moments when it's illuminated by the sun, and others when darkness takes over. You can't change the road's conditions, but you can choose to keep walking, step by step, knowing that each step brings you closer to your destination. Accepting the present doesn't mean giving up on your dreams. It means recognizing where you are now and, from that point, plotting a wiser course. By accepting what is, you free your mind from the futile fight against reality, save your emotional energy, and direct it toward what you can change. You take control of your life. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic sages, once said, "Luck does not exist. What we call luck is the intersection between preparation and opportunity." In other words, what many call luck is actually the result of mental and emotional preparation to deal with life circumstances, combined with the ability to see the opportunities that arise amidst chaos. And how do you prepare? By accepting what is and then acting wisely on what can be. If something is beyond your control, such as other people's actions or the past that cannot be altered, strive to accept it fully. But if there's something you can do, even if it's small, do it. Life is not about what happens to you, but about how you respond to what happens. Every decision, every action you take, shapes your reality. True freedom is achieved when you understand this duality. By accepting what's beyond your control, you free yourself from the burden of despair, anxiety, and frustration. And by acting with determination on what's within your reach, you take control of your destiny. Don't fight against life's tides. Sail through them. The wind may not blow in the direction you'd like, but you have the ability to adjust your sails, change course, and seek new routes. What the Stoics teach us is that while we can't control everything, we can always control ourselves. we can control how we respond to difficulties and how we prepare for what's to come. Accepting what is does not mean conformism. It means having the wisdom to recognize the limits of our power. But acting on what can be means never giving up on improving, learning, and growing. Life is a dance between these two elements, acceptance and action. When you master both, nothing can stop you. Think about all the times you've tried to force something that was beyond your control, like trying to hold sand in your hands. The tighter you squeezed, the more it escaped. But when you relax and accept reality, the sand stays. You begin to realize that, in the stillness of acceptance, new opportunities arise. Your mind opens up to new solutions, and you gain the strength to act with precision and efficiency. From today onwards, whenever you face a difficult situation, ask yourself, is this within or beyond my control? If it's beyond, take a deep breath and accept it. If it's within, act with courage and wisdom. Remember, life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you, and it's up to you to decide how to react. Accept what is, act on what can be. This is the key to living a full, balanced, and profoundly powerful life. Lesson 3. The power of the present. How many times have you found yourself trapped in a thought about something that has already passed? That mistake you made, that opportunity you missed, or even that word spoken at the wrong time, still echoing in your mind as if you couldn't change it. And what about the future? How many times has it stolen your peace? The uncertainty about what will happen tomorrow, the worries about what's beyond your control, the expectations you've placed on your own shoulders? These thoughts dominate us, suffocate us, and pull us away from the only thing that truly exists, the present, the now. And it's precisely here that the Stoics, with their timeless wisdom, bring us one of the most profound and liberating lessons: the power of the present. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome and one of the greatest Stoics, said something that resonates to this day. Stop worrying about tomorrow, you live now. It's a simple truth, but deeply transformative. Think about it for a moment. How many of your anxieties, fears, and worries exist only because you are out of the present? Because you are mentally living in a future that hasn't happened yet, or revisiting a past that no longer exists? Most of us spend much of our lives in places that exist only in our minds. And while we do this, we lose the only moment that is truly ours, the now. And this is exactly what the Stoics want to teach us. A balanced mind is one that is anchored in the present, that knows the past cannot be changed and that the future is yet to come. What we have is this moment, this exact moment. The present is a gift. But how can we put this into practice? How can we learn to value the now when it seems so easy to get lost in the ghosts of the past or the shadows of the future? The answer lies in awareness, in mindfulness. When you learn to focus your energy and thoughts on what's happening here and now, you begin to realize something. The present is where life happens. It's not in the past, it's not in the future, it's now. Imagine living each moment as it truly is. Feeling the air entering and leaving your lungs. Hearing every sound around you as if it were the first time. Being fully present in each conversation, in each situation, without your mind wandering to places that don't exist. That is the power of the present, and it is here that true mental peace is revealed. Whoever you are, whatever your story, the Stoics teach you that the past can no longer hurt you. What is done, and the future, it's still on its way. You cannot control it, but what you can control is what you do now, how you choose to live this moment. And in this instant lies all the power. Now you can decide to be calm, now you can decide to be strong, now you can decide to be happy. A balanced mind does not ignore the past, but it doesn't live in it. It learns from it and then leaves it behind. And what about the future? The Stoic mind knows that the future will come with its own challenges, and that when it arrives, it will be the present again. When you live anchored in the now, you live a free life, free from the chains of regret and anxiety. And isn't that what we all seek? Freedom, mental freedom, emotional freedom. The freedom to live fully without the invisible chains we create for ourselves. The Stoics knew this. They knew that living in the present is the key to unlocking that freedom, to living fully and truthfully. It doesn't matter what has happened, it doesn't matter what is to come. All that matters is what you do now. The present is all you truly have. The past, it's a teacher. The future, a promise. But the now is a gift, and it is in the present that you will find the peace, balance, and strength to face anything that comes your way. Don't allow your mind to wander in times that don't exist. Return to the now. Live in the now. This is the Stoics' lesson. This is the secret of a balanced mind. This moment, here and now, is where your life happens. Anchor yourself in it, and you will find the peace you seek. The power of the present is not just a beautiful idea. It is the key to true serenity. So from today on, whenever your mind tries to pull you toward the mistakes of the past or the fears of the future, remember one thing: you live now, and this moment is all you need. Lesson 4. Virtue is the true guide. When we think of mental balance, we often associate it with some sort of tranquil state where emotions are under control and the world's problems seem distant. But for the Stoics, balance goes far beyond simply being calm. They believe that true mental balance can only be achieved when you live according to your virtues: courage, wisdom, justice, and temperance. These are the compasses that guide the behavior of those who seek inner peace. It sounds simple, but this truth is profoundly transformative. Think about how often we get lost in our own lives, how many moments we are paralyzed by doubt, fear, or uncertainty. And why does this happen? Because many times, we are disconnected from our deepest values. We are fighting for things that, deep down, don't matter. We are chasing external approval, material success, social status, but we are drifting away from what truly gives meaning to our existence. Now, imagine a different path. Imagine walking through life knowing, with each step, that you are acting in accordance with what you truly believe in. That you are being just in your decisions, showing courage when needed, and seeking wisdom in every choice. This doesn't mean life will be easy, or that you'll be free of problems. But it does mean that in the midst of any challenge, you'll have the unshakable certainty that you're on the right path. And this certainty brings a peace that the world cannot take from you. When your mind is aligned with your virtues, the external noise becomes just a distant echo. Criticism doesn't affect you because you know you are acting with integrity. Failures don't destroy you because you understand that the value is not in the final outcome, but in the genuine effort to live according to your principles. The Stoics taught us that virtue is not a destination, it's a path. It's not something you achieve once and then you're done. No. Living according to virtue is a daily practice, a conscious choice we make every day. And every time you choose courage over fear, wisdom over ignorance, justice over self-preservation, and temperance over excess, you are strengthening that inner peace. But how can we bring these virtues into our lives in a practical way? Let's start with courage. Stoic courage is not just about facing physical danger, but the strength of character needed to do what is right, even when it's difficult. How many times do we avoid making a decision because we are afraid of what others will think? How often do we refrain from acting in line with our values out of fear of failure or judgment? The Stoics teach us that courage is doing what needs to be done, regardless of the outcome. It's acting according to what we believe is right, without letting fear paralyze us. Wisdom, on the other hand, is the ability to discern what truly matters. We live in an age of distractions, constantly bombarded by information, opinions, and expectations. Wisdom is the ability to filter out what is irrelevant and focus on what really matters. It's knowing that not everything is within our control and accepting that with serenity. When we understand that the only real control we have is over our own attitudes and actions, our mind calms because we stop fighting against the inevitable. Justice is the virtue of treating others fairly, of acting with integrity in our relationships. How many times do we witness injustices around us and choose to look away, either for convenience or out of fear of getting involved? Stoic justice calls us to be agents of change, to stand up for what is right, even if it puts us in an uncomfortable position. And by acting justly, we feel a deep inner peace because we are in harmony with our principles and the world around us. Lastly, temperance is the virtue of balance, of moderation. It's knowing when to stop, avoiding extremes, whether in emotions or actions. We live in a world that encourages excess, endless consumption, and the constant pursuit of more. Temperance reminds us to find the right measure in everything, to seek balance between pleasure and discipline, between desire and reason. When you live according to these virtues, courage, wisdom, justice, and temperance, your mind finds a balance that no external circumstance can shake. Because true mental balance doesn't come from a perfect, problem-free environment. It comes from within, from a mind that is at peace with itself, knowing it is on the right path. And this is the great secret of the Stoics. Living a virtuous life is living a life of true freedom. Freedom from fear, doubt, and distractions. Because when you live in harmony with your virtues, your mind becomes like a fortress, solid, impenetrable, serene. And in that state, you become unshakable in the face of life's storms. So remember, virtue is the true guide. It's not a destination to be reached, but a path to be walked every day. And the more you align yourself with it, the more peace, balance, and inner strength you will find. Lesson 5. Detach from the results. From an early age, we are taught to focus on results. The grades we get in school, promotions at work, public recognition. Everything revolves around achieving goals and measuring success based on what we accomplish. And what happens when the result isn't what we expected? Frustration, anxiety, and in many cases, despair. We become prisoners of something that is beyond our control. And that is exhausting, isn't it? But the Stoics teach us something profound and liberating. Do your best, but detach from the result. This lesson, although simple, carries one of the most powerful truths of Stoic philosophy. We have no control over how things turn out in the end. We cannot guarantee that our effort will bring exactly what we hope for. But we can always control what we put into each action, the effort, the dedication, and the heart. And that, my friends, is all that truly matters. Think for a moment. How many times have you lost hours of sleep, eaten up inside, afraid that something wouldn't work out? How many times have you felt powerless, not knowing if the fruits of your labor would be recognized or if that opportunity would slip through your fingers? This need to control the result imprisons us. It robs us of peace and throws us into an endless cycle of expectations and disappointments. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic sages, offers us a solution. He said, "Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish that what happens, happens as it does, and your life will go smoothly." This means wholeheartedly accepting that the universe has its own plans. You can chart a path, but the curves and detours are inevitable. And that's okay. When you stop fighting against what's beyond your control, you allow yourself to live in peace. Imagine the weight that would be lifted off your shoulders if you simply accepted that not everything will go as you planned. If you understood that the true victory lies in genuine effort, in discipline, and in the courage to keep going, regardless of the outcome. Because in the end, that's what defines who you are. Not the trophies, the medals, or the external achievements, but the inner strength you build by acting with excellence, even without guarantees. When you detach from the result, you give yourself a gift. Freedom. The freedom to be who you are without fear of failure. The freedom to dedicate yourself fully to what you believe in, without the suffocating pressure of needing to prove something to others or to yourself. And paradoxically, it is in this freedom that you become truly powerful. Because the one who is not enslaved by results never loses. They always grow, always learn, always evolve. So, the next time you find yourself anxious about what the future may or may not bring, remember, your job is not to control the future. Your job is to do the best you can now, in this very moment. Pour your whole self into what you do, without worrying about what comes next. Trust the process. Leave the rest in life's hands. Detach from the results, and you will discover a serenity that no one can take away from you. Lesson 6. Find strength in silence. In the times we live in, silence has become a rarity. Every moment, we are bombarded by notifications, noises, voices, and expectations. The world around us never rests. Social media calls to us, the pressure to be productive is constant, and the avalanche of information never stops. It's as if we are always surrounded by noise, and sometimes that noise isn't just external, it becomes internal. Our minds become restless, lost in worries, the opinions of others, doubts, and pressures. But what happens when we find silence? Not the absolute silence of the outside world, but the silence that arises within us. For the Stoics, inner silence is an invaluable source of power. It is there, in that intimate and deep space, that we find true clarity. It's in silence that we can organize our scattered thoughts, reflect on our actions, and understand what truly matters. Imagine for a moment, in the face of a challenging situation, you feel the tension, the immediate urge to react. Your mind is screaming, your heart racing, and the world seems to push you to make a quick decision. But instead of giving in to the inner storm, you choose silence, a pause. You take a deep breath. In that instant, the external noise no longer has power over you. The chaos outside doesn't define what happens within you. In that moment, you decide not to react impulsively, but to listen to the quiet within your mind. It's in that calm space that you find strength. The strength to act with wisdom. The strength to control your emotions instead of being controlled by them. Silence is not a place of weakness or inactivity. It's a space of power. It's where great thinkers found their answers, where leaders made their best decisions, and where sages built their inner peace. Each day, take a moment for silence. Close your eyes, step away from the chaos, and enter that place of stillness within you. There, your anxieties dissipate. Your doubts lose their grip. And what remains is the clarity of who you truly are and what you truly want. How many times in life have we made rash decisions, driven by the pressure of the moment? And how many times, after reflecting, have we realized that a more thoughtful action would have led us to a better path? Silence gives us that pause to think before acting. It gives us the opportunity to be masters of our choices, not slaves to our reactions. Finding strength in silence is an act of courage, especially in a world that constantly pushes us to speak, react, and compete. But the Stoics knew that it's in silence that true wisdom blooms. When the noise around you quiets down and you allow yourself to listen to your own mind, your own heart, that's when you discover that you already have all the answers you need. It's not about isolating yourself from the world, but about learning to listen to the internal voice that is often drowned out by the external chaos. Silence is not the absence of sound, it's the presence of yourself. And that presence, that connection to what truly matters, is what gives you the strength to face any challenge, any storm. The next time you feel the weight of the world on your shoulders, the next time pressures and anxieties try to overwhelm you, remember this lesson. Silence is your refuge. It is where your mind finds peace, where your heart finds direction, and where you find an unshakable strength to keep moving forward. Lesson 7. Turn obstacles into opportunities. Life inevitably places obstacles in our path, big, small, unexpected, but we all face them. How many times have you encountered a situation that seemed impossible to overcome? Those moments when the weight of your problems is so crushing that it feels like there's no way out. In those times, it's natural to want to give up, retreat, or avoid the discomfort. But the Stoics teach us a profound and powerful truth. Every obstacle is, in fact, a disguised opportunity. Think for a moment. What would happen if, instead of seeing obstacles as something negative, you began to see them as stepping stones? Every barrier, every difficulty that appears in your path is not there to stop you, but to teach you. Challenges are not the end of the road. They are part of the journey. Imagine life as a great mental training ground. Each difficulty you encounter is an exercise, a test to strengthen you, to prepare your mind and spirit. Obstacles are teachers. They challenge you, provoke you, but in the end, they teach you something valuable. Let's go back in time for a moment and think of the great figures in history. Men and women who left their mark on the world. Do you think they reached the top without facing adversity? Without encountering failures and setbacks? Absolutely not. They got there because they faced these obstacles head on, because they learned to see every problem as a chance to grow. This is what Stoic philosophy teaches us. When you come across a difficult situation, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask yourself, "What can I learn from this? How can I become stronger from this experience?" One of the greatest Stoic philosophers, Marcus Aurelius, said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." Think carefully about this phrase. What he means is that the obstacle isn't something that stops you from moving forward. In fact, it's quite the opposite. It is the path. It is through difficulties that we find our true strength. Every setback, every failure, every challenge that seems insurmountable is in fact forging the best in us. But how do we turn these obstacles into opportunities in practice? First, Change your perspective. The way you see the problem determines how you face it. If you see a challenge as an insurmountable barrier, it will paralyze you. But if you see it as a chance to grow, it becomes a tool. A chance to practice patience, resilience, and courage. Think of that difficult moment in your life. It may have been a loss, a failure, a disappointment. At the time, it felt like your world was falling apart, right? But now, looking back, can you see how much it taught you, how it shaped you, how you became stronger and better prepared to face future challenges? That's how obstacles work. They may knock us down for a moment, but when we get up, life will never be completely easy. There will always be challenges, always difficulties, but that is exactly what makes the journey worthwhile. Without obstacles, there is no growth. Without challenges, there is no learning. And without difficulties, we never discover what we are truly capable of. Remember, obstacles are not here to stop you. They are here to prepare you. Every adversity is an opportunity to sharpen your mind, strengthen your spirit, and become closer to the person you are destined to be. When you adopt this Stoic mindset, something magical happens. You stop running away from challenges. Instead, you face them head-on, with the certainty that in the end, you'll come out stronger than you entered. From now on, whenever an obstacle arises in your path, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How will this make me stronger? And above all, remember that it's not the obstacles that define you, but how you choose to react to them. This is the essence of Stoic resilience. This is how you transform obstacles into opportunities and keep moving forward, no matter how difficult the road may seem. And the truth is, the more challenging the path, the more grandiose the achievement. If you've made it this far, I want you to know you've already taken the first step toward becoming unshakable. The simple fact that you're here absorbing these lessons shows that you're ready to transform your life. And now I ask you, are you ready to face your obstacles head-on? Leave a comment. I want to see who is committed to this journey. Write the keyword unshakable in the comments so I know you watched until the end and are willing to grow through these challenges. If this video inspired you, leave a like. It shows that these lessons touched you in some way. And of course, subscribe to the channel, because together we will build strong minds ready to face any challenge. See you in the next video.